Yes, sir.
He's covering the left tackle, so he's getting two zone drops, or whether he's just rushing or leaving. So,
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not able to hear much of the question. Did you say something about Soldier Field?
yeah, no,
I couldn't understand or hear much.
Yeah, you're playing Notre Dame at Soldier Field.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. I mean, how does that come about? Is that their
Because Barry wanted to play Notre Dame, and so we ended up doing it home and home, and one's in Lambeau and one's in Soldier Field, and we get a chance to go do it. But it's any of these are, you love playing good teams and you love experiences, but I kind of think that's really the true answer. Barry wanted to do it, and so Badgers are doing it.
Coach,
Sorry about that.
I've spent the last couple of days asking the students what charities and foundations are close to their heart. One of the things I love about Madison is the way we give back to the community. Are the athletic directors and coaches doing anything to encourage the players to get involved in extracurricular giving back, or is it all about football?
No, I think that, our everything we do in the program is football starts it. Football brings us together. But at the end of the day, if all we have is football, I think we've missed a huge opportunity. And I think a lot of guys, some have grown up where they naturally, however they learned it, whether it was through their parents or through someone at their school or their church or something happened, right, that they're involved. And then you've got others that haven't really been exposed to it. And I think if we can expose our players to as many things, that's a healthy and good. And we try to do as much as we can for others. We know that we're fortunate. We know that we've been all blessed in different ways, and if you can find ways to give back, I think that's a great way to show your appreciation. And I think our players, sometimes we're initiating, sometimes they're initiating it, and we're jumping on it. But I think it's this whole thing is there's more than just football that we're involved with, and yet football is our common. It started it. It brings it together. But like I said, at the end of it, if all we have is football, then I think we've missed a great opportunity.
A lot's been discussed already about name, image, likeness, but what's your assessment of how you think that's gone for your players, and do you anticipate any challenges when it comes to recruiting when dealing with that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on with for just starting, with the name, image, likeness. I think that, the first thing is you kind of, okay, where are you at with it? And I'd say, with Mac and myself, we're kind of on the same page that if people can benefit, I was going to say guys, but it's really everyone, right? If people can benefit, all for that, right? I think our big role in it is that how can we do a good job of making sure they're educated about what they're heading into, and there's a bit of a protective party that comes up. You don't want something happening to them that they get involved with something that's detrimental to them or what they're trying to do, that they're not, it's part of the educational part of it. Not being educated enough, could you get into something, right? So I think for us, you focus on the educational and best you can try to protect them. They've got to make the decision, right? It's something they're going to choose to do. I think that, if used in the right way, there'll be some neat opportunities, and that's good. It'll be interesting how it all kind of how does it really, where does the market really kind of settle to? And I think that I've always been impressed with our guys that, I think what they're doing currently before all that was really valuable. I think that if you get an opportunity to get a degree from Wisconsin, which takes work, that you can set yourself up and you have an opportunity for a great career. And, we've talked a lot about that with our players, and I was, whoever you talk to, whether it's myself, guys I played with, guys that Rudy played with, guys that Mac, kind of wherever you're at in the deal, guys that never played in the NFL that are doing extremely well. And I want our guys to understand those stories. And right, that's kind of a long haul, a long version of really successful people. And then there's a football component to it, and putting all your time and energy. And we've, these guys here, not the freshmen, not the sophomores, but they've seen it. Some of the older guys have seen it, what it takes for a guy like JT or TJ Edwards or TJ Watt to do what they're doing. And in the end, pretty successful just from a business venture. Right? And they can multitask. I do worry some guys, we got a lot of guys that can multitask. I don't know how many guys can juggle. Right? And so I'd hate to see, they'll throw out numbers, but you got to be fully invested to do that. And I think you still, I think you just got to continue to help talk to them and work it through. And I think on the surface, it can be a really good thing.
Stephen Carr, I think his
you talked about in the question with recruiting, and there's no question that's been part of it. We chose, I don't know what, if you're a high school senior, I don't know what you're going to make. So for me to speak on it, I thought that was, I didn't go there because I'm not speaking on something that's truthful. I know what's going on, and in the end, it'll be interesting how it all plays out, I guess.
Paul,
It's
having
kind of
known
cool
Brett
because
as long as
we have this culture that we have on our team, and
what do you think makes
it's really
him such a
interesting
good
how
coach?
fast
Qualities
the guys get integrated.
Yeah, I knew Brett wanted to get back into it, and so when he had the opportunity, I was excited for him.
See their
And,
part of it.
I enjoyed, the chance I had to work with him. But you think about it, now that was in coaching years, that was a while back, right? And I'm sure that he's a different coach
Transformation from my freshman year
now
to
than he was, when I was with him at Wisconsin. He went to Arkansas and had a chance to be in the NFL, but obviously a lot of respect for him, and I know that he cares a lot about it and works well with players and people, and but the big thing is, that's what he wanted. I was happy for him to get that opportunity.
Staples of teams coached by Brett. What do you imagine you're going to see out of Illinois just knowing Brett?
Yeah, it's going to be good football, and I don't think we play him first game, second game, third game, so I'm anxious to see, how they go. But Brett's a good football coach. He'll surround himself with, I know some of them, and the ones that I do know on the side, they're good football coaches. They'll be good, and I've always thought that they've had some really good talent, and so it's always a challenge when you play them.
Coach, there was some talk.
Of playing Penn State.
We have to go like rock, paper, scissors when something like this happens. Like, how do we decide? Like, why am I don't want to be the decider. Brian?
I'll let you have it.
Yeah.
Do something.
Okay. Yeah. So what's the challenge when you play a team like?
So did you throw the winning one?
He said go. So
Oh, he did, okay.
Yeah. Then usually I get feedback from players. But yeah, so like, what's the challenge when you're trying to prepare to play Penn State week 1? They got a new offense. You don't really know what you're going to get from Sean Clifford at this point. So how do you kind of go about scouting that? How far back do you try to go when you're running a new offense?
I think you try to hit the proper balance of preparing for what they could do. But the one thing I think that when you are, like, you're going to know less about your opponent first game of the year, a little bit more your second game. But you also got to, I think that in fall camp you're preparing for the whole season. So you have to cover a lot of things in fall camp. You don't spend all camp just preparing for one team. And so I think that you do as much research as you can on all your opponents, and and if you don't know something about an early opponent, you try to go back in it. But you know, in the end of the day, you're gonna see every game. I don't care if it's your last game. You're gonna see something you haven't prepared for, and you're gonna see principles, and you're gonna see.
I don't think too many guys.
That's what you got to focus on. What you do offensively, defensively, special teams. Do they hold up versus all the possibilities? You got 11 people that you're going to go against. How are they going to disperse it? So I think you try to balance it out, but you know that you're not going to get it all, and you don't panic on it. You just gotta, you know it, and then you gotta be able. And that's where I feel confident with our coaches, and more importantly, our players, because the way they're coached and who they are, you're gonna have to adjust, and then make the adjustments and carry it forward.
Coach, there was talks last year about how fans had to walk all the way to the sideline to get the plays, and walk all the way back to the huddle. How there wasn't a great system. Is there any change to that process for this year, or is that still going to be going on?
No, I mean that was for a whole different purpose, and so I don't anticipate us necessarily having to do that.
When it comes to recruiting, getting back into it after the dead period ended in June, just how was the process of ramping up to get the official visits rolling in? The camps started up, which I know have been vital in the past. How did your team, the program, dive into that, and just how did you feel about the results? About just I know you can't talk about commits or recruits in general, but just how do you feel the process went overall?
It was awesome. It was awesome getting guys back on campus. Loved having the camps. And having kids around, and the official visits were fun, and you've been talking to them a lot, so much of it on Zoom, and so much, so just having the interaction with the prospects and their families. June was a busy month, but it was I loved it, and obviously continuing to, we're excited about the what we're able to do in the month, but you got to continue to work and build off of kind of what was not started in June, but that was a significant part of it. You got to keep going on a few guys. But I loved it. It was exciting to get it back, right, and to be able to do that.
How do you feel that the competition in the Big Ten West has improved over the last few years?
I got a ton of respect for. You got really good coaches. I think there's really good players, and I've always believed that every game in the Big Ten, and certainly the West, specifically to your question, that's a challenge, and you know a little bit more about each other. A little different last year because we didn't all play each other, but it's always a challenge, but yet they're fun challenges.
Paul, I think there was some times where walk-ons helped plug in spots in depth where maybe recruits hadn't found out, and you had it there. Look at the transfer portal now. Is that a tool you guys have to use with the ease of guys being able to transfer and play right away?
Right. Yeah, I think it's certainly something that you have to be aware of and use. And you're right. There's a bit of a fine line that, and I think you can use it that way. That if you're not looking at someone unless you have an availability, a spot, a scholarship to give. And so then you have to say, all right, is the scholarship who we get in the portal, or is it to reward someone that we're going to know a lot more about? And I think that's where you try to balance it. So you do it, but absolutely, and like you said, because of the immediate eligibility, that adds a whole nother, in my opinion, dimension to the transfer possibility. And yet, I think you still have to, I still think it's really important to know who it is you're getting, and they have to know who it is they're joining.
Oh, you've had a couple of probably tougher losses of your career here in this stadium. When you reflect back on those games, what did you maybe take from those and kind of internalize, knowing that, hey, that's the challenge of winning a Big Ten championship?
Yeah, each game you lose, you can kind of go back at times and you say, well, there's some common, were you opportunistic? Did you take care of the football? What happened, you take some and, I know where we missed an opportunity to score a touchdown and instead it's a field goal. Turnovers, giving up a big play on defense, it comes back to still, the takeaway still is good football is important. And to win, especially against good teams, you have to play good football.
With the numerous selections, all Big Ten selections and NFL draft picks, yet Wisconsin will recruit at a high level. Can you explain how this program has so much success doing more with less?
I hesitate because I understand your question, and you say, are we doing more with less? I don't know that we are, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the question, but, I do know, we've had a couple kids you offer, and if they take the offer right away, they're not going to be a highly recruited kid. If they want to extend the recruiting process, my guess is they would possibly become a higher profile recruit. Never been concerned about where we are in the recruiting rankings as much as are we getting the guys that fit our program the best. And so I think there's a little bit of both, and I'm not trying to dodge it by any ways, but I think that you're always happy with who you sign, and you always would like to do a better job of recruiting, just like you're happy with what you're doing on the field, but you'd like to be better on the field. I shouldn't say you're always happy with what you do on the field, but there's a lot of times you win the game, glad we won, but boy, we could be better. And I think recruiting can be that way sometimes, and so you just keep working.
Paul, when you look at your defense, the line would probably be the group that you go into the season with the most question marks. You got Henningsen, but do you envision using Keanu in some different roles, like especially if you go to a nickel package? Can you see him on the field more, or what's your assessment as you get closer to fall camp about what to do with that?
Keanu's a really good player, and I think that he's a guy that, for us to be our best on defense, needs to be out there, right? And so I'm excited about that group. You're right. I think that there's going to be more that, we're getting a sense of them, the whole group. You've got a feel for Henny. You've got a feel for Keanu. Isaiah Mullins, I don't know that you do have a great one. James Thompson, I think he got hurt on his first snap even, but, curious there, how does Isaac Townsend translate? Rodis Johnson and Gio have been in the program now. They'll have opportunity. So, in a different way, couldn't tell you how running backs is going to play out. You know about Henny, you know about Keanu, Bryce has played a lot of football. But how the rest of it shapes out, I think that'll be interesting to see, and that's a big part of fall camp. But I think Keanu's I think he's a really good football player, and the more he's on the field, the better it is for us.
Paul, there are reports that